Hey, gorgeous miracles. It's Alyssa Rushton here with 3 energies that you can work with this full moon and as you go into the equinox this next week. So this is a very powerful, potent time. There's a lot of completions energy happening. If you haven't already listened to the podcast episode I put out last week about soul contracts and twin flames and soulmates, you might choose to do that just because it's a lot about some energies that are wrapping up, so to speak, with respect to your relationships and how you might have been in those relationships. So do check that out. And today I want to talk about the energies that are happening right now, specifically this week, the 16th through the 23rd. And so this next period of time is a really potent, energetic time where you might be encountering a lot of a feeling. It might be more just a general feeling of endings. Maybe things aren't exactly ended as you would have them, but you might feel that they need to end. For example, you might have a business partner that you've been knowing for a really long time that it's not really working and you feel like it should come to an end or some sort of a change maybe, or an end in the way that it's been happening. This also might be happening with a relationship or a partner or even a friendship. No matter how it's happening, you might just have the feeling or the inkling that it's time. If you're feeling that, that is the energy that's running right now. You know, I always feel like it's important to just listen to that. We can always alchemize and change a relationship. It doesn't necessarily mean because you're feeling that it's meant to end. But there is a lot of energy around endings and transformation, which is one of the keys that I'm going to get into today. But I just wanted to start off by saying you might be feeling this really strong, something's going to end energy. And at the same time, you might be having this behind the scenes, something really big is going to happen energy, or something that you don't know is going to start and become new in your world. Maybe a change of jobs, maybe a change of location, maybe a move, something new. And it's probably feeling quite big is how I'm seeing the energy. It feels like a really big energy that as I look at it, it almost feels like this big ball of energy, and it's got all these sparks coming off of it. And so when we don't exactly know what something is, it can also throw us a little bit, or it can feel a little destabilizing or uncertain. Just know that that's the energy that's running in the background of things right now. So if that's you, you're in the perfect place. And today I'm going to talk about the 3 energies that you can work with that are going to really be helpful for this. So the first energy that is really present right now, especially in this next week, is the energy of transformation. Transformation energy, I was thinking about this last night. Is it related to my own personal health journey and how I literally had to tear down the person that I was and rebuild myself sort of cell by cell by cell into a very healthy person, but do it very consciously. I was then directed to think about this for what everybody's going through right now, that many people, you might be included in this, are being called to uptune the body, transform the body, make healthier decisions, make healthier choices, really fine tune that body channel, body vehicle, I call it. But this also might be a transformation in your life. You might be at the place in your life where you've been sort of running on a sense of some unconscious programs still happening. And now you're at a place where you're quite conscious and you can take a look around your life and go, gosh, I really would like to recreate some things in my life from a much more conscious place. I can remember when I did this in my business a few years back ago. I had created a business and I thought it was from a very conscious place at the time. And then I got to a certain place where I decided, gosh, this really doesn't suit me anymore. And so I tore down the business and I recreated something new. And that's what I have today. But you might be feeling the same thing right now. You might be feeling really called to sort of tear down, transform, recreate something anew. And if that's you, if you're really resonating with this, as you're feeling called to do so, whether it's with your health, whether it's with your exercise routine, whether it's with your business, your finances, your relationships, I think a few things are really important to take a look at as you're doing transformation work. So one of the keys here for creating lasting transformation is looking at what's really sustainable. What can you sustain? If you were to think of maybe, say, for example, a football player playing for pro football, That's really hard to sustain. Most football players can't do it for more than 10 years. Many of them have to do a lot of unhealthy things to sustain it. When we look at the transformation we're creating on the planet, please forgive me, football fans, but if we were to take a look at football and say, gosh, is this really created from a healthy place? Would we really want to do this as conscious human beings? Would we really want to put men on a field where they have to knock up against each other and cause concussions and injuries and treat their bodies very harshly and probably do maybe some unsavory supplements, other things that help their body do some of the impossible week after week after week? Would we really choose to do that from a conscious place? Or is that a layover? Is that a holdover of energy that happened from thousands of years back when we used to have men fighting in the Colosseum for sport? Is that just a holdover of energy? And would we choose to create something like that now? My sense is that we wouldn't. My sense is that if we were really choosing to create healthy structures, we would really take a look at how is this healthy for the people that are doing it? How is this sustainable? How is this positive and uplifting in people's vibration and their energy? And so ask yourselves those questions as you're creating your own transformation. Is this sustainable? Is this uplifting? Is this going to create a lasting change? When you think about the physical body, for years, people have been coming to me for dietary advice, and oftentimes they want to get on some sort of a plan that's always going to be the same, that's never going to change. And oftentimes they kind of want to have the feeling of restriction, which I'm not into at all. I personally had to recreate my whole entire health and how I ate. And so for me, I know that what I eat changes depending on the season, depending on where I'm living, depending on how much exercise I'm getting in. It's going to have a few tenets that I will never move across. Those tenets are: how is that food produced? How is that food packaged? How is that food prepared? Is it healthy? Is it sustainable? Is it chemical free? Is it pesticide free? Is it GMO free? And if it doesn't meet those criteria, I actually label it as poison. And so I know that might sound extreme, but for me, that's been really helpful because I just won't put poison into my body. So, and nobody would, right? Nobody's going to knowingly, willingly ingest poison. So if you label these foods that maybe you might have been eating in the past that you actually know don't work for you, but if you label them in your mind with a poison label on them, of course, you're not going to want to eat them. Of course, that's not going to serve you. So now's the time to lean into this transformational energy. Now's the time to really look at the structures in your life. Ask yourself, how have the things that haven't been going the way I'd prefer them to go, how have they been based in maybe old programs, old unconscious programs, old ways of being that are not sustainable and are not healthy? Many of you might be having to do this with your business and take a look at business models that are not sustainable or that aren't working any longer and need to change them. And as you do that, I applaud you because there is a shift coming with how we do business that's going to require us to act more collaboratively. That's going to require that we do business vastly differently in this new way. I think what you're going to see over the next course of years is that the businesses that are clinging on to the old model, but the profit over people, the profit over healthy, the profit over sustainability, the profit over whatever the over is, those things you're going to see really break down swiftly. This is just that time of transformation, and you can start to create this transformation within yourself. And as you do, you're going to notice your outer world really shift and transform quite swiftly. Okay, let's talk about the next energy. Now, this energy has been coming in for a long, long time, but you're probably feeling it now more than ever. This is the energy of divine as and through you. So this is where you wake up every day and you have a knowing, you have a recognition that divine energy, God energy, whatever you'd like to call it, lives in you. It is expressed through you in your every action. And you look less at life in the way that, well, I'll set aside 30 minutes for a meditation today. And you decide to make your every waking moment a meditation. You decide to become conscious to the point where you are a transmitter and a receiver of divine source energy all the time. That is the work right now on the planet. That is what's happening. More and more and more people, I suspect you are one of them, are remembering the truth of who you are. So it's a transformation on the outside physical stuff, but it's also a transformation of your inside physical identity. Going from a human identity, I am my human body, I am my human being self, I am this human life, to going to a soul-based, cosmic-based identity. What's funny is in the East, they actually teach this a lot, but in the West, if you're here in the West or here in the northern hemispheres of the world, I know that many of you aren't, but some of you are, we don't really learn that until we have to learn it, and we're learning it now. And we're going through a place of embodying that and learning to embody that. Right now is this beautiful time where there's more Christ consciousness, God consciousness, divine consciousness, Buddhic consciousness, whatever term you'd like to use. There's more of that flooding the planet than ever before. And it's there for you to tap into. But it does take a very conscious choice to tap into this energy. And you will have many, many moments to practice being in God consciousness, divine consciousness, when the times are not the easy. It's easy to be in God consciousness when you're lying on the beach or you're eating a beautiful papaya bowl with berries. That's easy. It's difficult to be in God consciousness when you are stuck in traffic and you're late, or when you are needing to negotiate something with a coworker and it's not going well. That's when it's hard to be in God consciousness. So you're given opportunities now to strengthen the muscle and practice doing that, so that the more you embody that on the moment by moment basis in your day, the more the world starts to shift and change. Now, here's the key piece to this, is that one of the things that as human beings we've been taught is that we are separate from God, divine source energy, that we've got to do a certain set of tricks, if you will, rules. We got to follow a set of rules. We've got to speak a certain way or say the prayers a certain way. And we've got to do this like checklist of things. And if we're not doing this checklist of things in the way that we've been told, then we're not worthy of God somehow. And what's interesting to me is that if you are of a different ideology than somebody else's checklist, then you too are doing it wrong. Like you too are outside of God. I actually was traveling on a trip when I was 12 to Thailand, and I knew this. Like I understood, oh gosh, we are all putting each other in these little boxes outside of God. That's when I had my first realization of this. So the goal is to see everyone as God. You are God, and so are they. And that's the trick of this time, is to not hold anyone outside of God, even though they might be acting really badly, even though you might perceive them as awful, or even words like evil that you might use, right? Even though you might perceive them as that, when you can hold somebody in their own divine template, when you can see someone else and say, oh, you too are a human being with God consciousness inside of them, it actually helps to activate more of that in them. And I've talked about this a lot in the past, so I won't go into it too much here, but it's the equivalent to a teacher coming into a room filled with bad kids, and the teacher has this expectation that the kids are really good and they have a great day and the kids turn out to be geniuses. You've all seen movies like this. So that's the time right now, is we're being invited to remind ourselves the truth of who we all really are, and not hold our fellows, our brothers, our sisters, even the plants and animals outside of this, right? It's all God consciousness coming through, just being expressed in different ways. And so that's the time. It's this time of transformation. It's the time of remembering the truth of your soul identity, bringing in that God consciousness. And then lastly, the last energy is infusing your own personal matrix with love. I know that many of you are wanting to do something really new and different. When we are wanting that, there's usually something that happens when we go into, well, we don't have what we want. And so when we infuse the matrix with that feeling as well as what we want, it still keeps us in separation. So the more you can open your heart, bathe yourself in the frequency of love, bathe yourself in the frequency that you are loved by divine source energy, that it is as and through you, it's as you and through you and all around you, then you can start to get yourself into, I call it the 0 point field. You might call it the quantum energy. You might call it the matrix, whatever you'd like to call it. You can get yourself into this feeling state of being connected already to what it is that you want and infusing everything with love. And when you see yourself as connected to everything already that you already want, it can then come into your life and appear very quickly. If you need some help with that, inside the Miracles portal, there's actually a couple of audios that I find are really helpful for this. They help your brain to attune to a certain frequency that helps your body channel to feel connected to all the things. It helps your pineal gland open and connect and radiate out into the matrix or the energy field so that you can create faster. This particular energy is called the Miracles frequency, and I find it so peaceful and so lovely to create from that state. If you're not already a member, go to createmiraclesdaily.com and you can get a free 1-month membership, and you can check out these brainwaves that really help your brain to start to syncopate up with co-creating with the universe and divine source energy. Okay, gorgeous friends. Well, I hope you have the most amazing full moon. I want to leave you with this. Now is a beautiful time to really write out what it is that you want to create for yourself. What are those things that you want to create anew? What are those ways of being, those friendships, those business relationships, those places to live? What are those ways that you want to just be new in the world? Write those down. Plant the seeds with the universe. Infuse it with the fact that you are divine. You are here to experience the life that you want. You are here to infuse this earth with new energy. And you do that as you bring in new things into your experience and as you birth things through you and your energy. That's how we change the planet, is through us individually. Do take some time this day or maybe tomorrow and the next day as we move into the equinoxal energies and tell the universe really what you'd like and ask it to co-create with you, because it is you. Okay, gorgeous light. I love you so, so much. Have the most magical full moon and happy March. Bye for now.